One of the big things I've learned over the last couple of weeks working with some very solid people, it's about certainty. We need to be certain about what we're doing. I've learned that the universe doesn't work very well with uncertainty. You need to be certain about what you're doing. You need to be very certain. In other words, you need to fully immerse yourself. To reach your ultimate potential, you need to surrender to certainty. You need to put everything you've got into what you're doing. And I have lots of proof in my life of that, lots of examples. When I wanted to be a good judo player, I found the certainty. Obviously there's a real risk. I was working with internationals. I might get dropped on my head, I might break my neck. There's a real risk, but I was certain I wanted to do it. I was certain that what I was in there for, I was certain that the purpose was strong enough. When I wanted to overcome my fears of violence, I became a nightclub doorman. I could have been killed. I could have been, stabbed. I could have been shot. Lots of people were. But I was certain I wanted to be there. I fully immersed myself into that world, and because I was certain, I got maximum growth. When I wanted to be a writer, it's that same thing. I went through periods of uncertainty, but when I was certain it was what I wanted to do, when I knew it was what I wanted to do, it was as though the universe conspired to make it happen. Certainty is very powerful, but sometimes it takes us a little while to find that certainty. If we don't find certainty, we're stuck between two gears, like being on a bike going up a hill in between two gears, the thighs screaming and the gears screaming as well. So we've got to find that certainty. We've got to change gear into that certainty, and we've got to fully immerse ourselves into it. And when we find that certainty, when we fully immerse ourselves, the universe conspires. This certainty will not come without purpose, because when we come to commit ourselves to certainty, we will be asked, what's your purpose for this? Why are you doing this? We need purpose. Purpose is the fuel. Purpose is how we connect. Purpose means logos. Logos means God. It means love. It means we connect to our infinite supply of energy. When we're not certain, we're working off finite energy. We're working off energy that sits between the ego and the internal parent. We're working from intellect. When we want full certainty and full purpose, we have to connect to our divinity. We have to connect to our source, or to our potential with a capital P. So the key isn't to find the right diet, or the right training partner, or the right business model, or the right product, or the right partner. The key is to find purpose. If we find the why, that's what purpose is. If we know why we're doing it, the how will look after itself. So the search is for purpose. Viktor Frankl wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning, and he did a system called logotherapy, which is about the power of purpose. And he said when we click into purpose, the universe conspires to help us. When we connect to purpose, and we surrender to purpose, we become purpose. So in other words, when we surrender to God, God surrenders to us. When we surrender to potential, potential surrenders to us. That's full certainty. Without full certainty, we're always just going to get half hits and bits and pieces, and never going to reach our full potential. But full certainty means surrender. It means we stop. It means we're working from a place of spontaneity. We no longer really have a map. We have to rely completely on the faith that our divine sat-nav is going to lead us to where we need to be. And when we're connected to that, all the right things will happen at all the right times, in all the right order. The right influences, the right books, the right deals will come to us purely from that place of certainty, purely from that place of purpose. So if you're in a place now when you're in extreme pain, it's probably because you haven't found, or you're uncomfortable, or you're unhappy, you probably haven't found the purpose. Frankl says we have to honour our pain. We honour our pain by finding the purpose. The analogy with the bodybuilder is that if I know that the burn and the pain and the extreme discomfort of the weights is where the growth is, I find purpose for it. And then my perception of the pain changes. Then I want to go to the pain quickly. I want to stay in the pain long, because I know that's where the growth is. So the purpose has the power to change perception completely. This is what I would call the divine perception. The divine perception is that this pain Within this pain is growth. Within this pain is development. Within this pain is treasure. Within this pain is gold. Within this pain is your ultimate potential. But if you don't find the purpose, and that's what the inquiry should be, why is this here? What's this going on for? This is what Vasishta says in the Yoga Vasishta. We have to inquire, what am I getting from this? And if we can find a purpose for the pain and recognize the pain will precipitate growth and development, then my perception of that pain will change, my perception of that discomfort will change, and it will no longer be uncomfortable. The only way we become comfortable with discomfort is to find purpose. If you get a chance to read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, he was an amazing man. He was in Auschwitz, and he said Auschwitz and said that whole place, that whole Holocaust was created because of one person's perception. One person had a very powerful unconscious perception and created the ninth circle of hell. And he said, we've got to tell people that we need to be more respectful of our perception, more respectful of our cognition. We need to be more respectful of our power to create and destroy in the world just from perception. And he wanted to write a book to show people how to expand perception, how to what he would call expanding the second self, destroying old core beliefs and creating new, wider beliefs. So he said, we can create a heaven or a hell. This is what Milton said, the mind is its own place. It can create a heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven. So we can create the reality we want to create by changing the perception. But to change the perception, we need to have a master builder, and the master builder is our chief perception, this divine intuitive voice which I've spoken about before. We need purpose. We need to know why we're doing it. So if you can change your purpose, if you can find purpose, your perception will change. When your perception changes, your pain will dissipate. It will be a comfortable discomfort. Just working with a guy recently who's been through a very bad breakdown with his girlfriend, and he was in a torturous place. And he's a guy that wouldn't actually look at himself. He just kept looking out into the world. Then he found another girl, and his perception, he fell back in love with this other girl, and his perception changed, and suddenly his pain disappeared, completely disappeared. So perception can turn an enemy into a friend. It can turn pain into pleasure. It can turn penury into riches. It can turn a slum into a kingdom. Perception changes everything, but we need to find a way to change the perception on the inside. That's why we're only going to do that if we find purpose. If we find purpose, we can create anything we want to create in the world, but it's all going to come from us. So the search is not for the ideal something, the search is for the purpose. And once we found the purpose, when I found my purpose to be a good judo player, because it was a weak part of my game, I created an opportunity to train full-time with Olympic players every day, every single day. And it was a free class, it didn't cost me anything. Neil Adams was my friend. That class was there. I trained with the best people in the world, and then once I'd learned what I needed to learn from that, I stepped away. The class is no longer there. I created that from my need. I created a necessity because I had a very powerful purpose to go there and fill a gap, to tie up a loose end in my martial arts training. When we know why we're doing something, when we have a very powerful purpose, everything will come together effortlessly. It's finding the purpose. So the key is to keep looking for the purpose. We don't look for the purpose by going out there, we look for the purpose by going in here. We discover who is in here that's stopping us from finding the purpose. When we find the purpose, we bring the purpose to our health, to our relationship, to our money, to our business, to our world, to our reality. When we bring the purpose to it, that reality will change. That's guaranteed. I am certain of that. I have no doubt about that. But finding purpose can be very difficult. That's the thing most people struggle with. So don't look for the perfect diet. Look for your reason to get yourself in shape. Don't look for the perfect business. Look for your purpose. What's your purpose? When you find the purpose, everything else will sort itself out. The power is in the purpose.